Welcome to part 3 of my top 25 films of 2012, and I'm going to do 15 to 11 today, and I think I'll just get straight into it because I've already said what I need to say in the other ones. But 15 is Skyfall, and I thought that this was probably the best Bond film in a good 15 years since GoldenEye, I think, and I just thought that Sam Mendes did a terrific job in bringing Bond uh, back to his roots because it's the 50th anniversary of Bond, and also because I think it's what Bond needed. He needed to return to the gadgets, to the quips, to the to the spy work essentially, because the other two Daniel Craig films felt more like Bourne films than Bond films. And I think this brought it back into the frame of Bond, and I think that's why I really enjoyed it so much. And it's got some great performances by Daniel Craig, who really deserves to be Bond after this one, and Judi Dench as well. 14 is Haywire, which I thought was just a terrific spy thriller because it's so stylized in its direction by Steven Soderbergh. It's got some great cast, but with Channing Tatum giving great performance, especially at the end when he gives a quite touching scene, and also Michael Douglas and Michael Fassbender, who give great performances again because they're such great actors. And I think Gina Carano manages to lead the cast pretty well, despite the fact that she is not an actress. And I think that the way they created the story, so it mirrored 60s spy thrillers, despite the fact that it was set in the modern day, was really clever, and it managed to make it thrilling without there being much action in it at all. And it's a really good film. 13 is Jack Reacher, which was directed by Christopher McQuarrie, who did another of my favourite films, which is The Way of the Gun, which is such a bleak drama about two I don't know what any other way to say it. They're just assholes. Two assholes who kidnap a woman to ransom her off, and how their lives completely fall apart because of it. And it's really clever, really violent, and I think they chose the right director for Jack Reacher, because Jack Reacher is equally as horrible as those two, despite the fact that he's always out for the little man, fighting for the justice and whatnot, and that justice may not relate to the law's justice. And it's a really good film. It's really well directed. It's got a great car chase in the middle that's so very Bullet-esque, when all the music stops and all you can hear is the revving of the engine, and it's just a great film. And it's got a good performance by Tom Cruise, despite the fact that there was so much controversy about how he didn't look like Jack Reacher at all. And I honestly didn't care, because he was so well suited to the role, and he did such great performance. It was just a really good film. Number 12 is Lawless, which did have one flaw in the fact that I didn't think Jessica Chastain was very good in it. But I think she made up for that in Zero Dark 30, which is just incredible. Absolutely, it just grips you from start to finish, and I'll be doing a review of that later on. But back to Lawless, it's got some great performances by Tom Hardy, and especially Shia LaBeouf, who I'd written off thanks to Eagle Eye and the Transformers films, but he's what makes the film essentially. He is the best part of it, and you follow this boy that you empathise with entirely, despite the fact you have no idea what it's like to live in the 30s. You have no idea what it's like to bootleg, and you really don't know what he's going through, but you empathise so much with him, and he's such an endearing character, and it's just essentially it's a film about family, and I think as a film it's just really touching in places, and it's got this great family dynamic even among the female characters who join the group, including Mia Wasikowska's character, who's the daughter of a preacher who gets involved with Shia LaBeouf's character. It's a really well made period piece. And finally, 11 is Margin Call, which I thought was just an acting tour de force because it's got so many great actors in it, and it's just one of those films that has absolutely no standout scenes to mention where people have big speeches or whatnot. It's just a talking film that just affects you, and you don't empathise with it. Sorry, you understand it because it's all about the recession. It's all about how the 1% screws over the 99, and it's a film that you can understand. You can understand the motives of the company, despite the fact that you know what they're doing is wrong. And it's got these brilliant performances, like I said, by Paul Bettany. He's probably the best of the film, but it's also got great performances by Jeremy Irons, Kevin Spacey, despite the fact there's a subplot at the end that's added on just to make him seem a lot more human, despite the fact that the film does a pretty good job to make it seem that way regardless. And finally, it's got a great performance by Zachary Quinto, who's really the lead of the film, despite the fact that he doesn't really have that much to say. But he's got a great scene halfway through the film, which sort of makes you understand where he's coming from and what he's doing with his life. And he's a really well fleshed out, rounded character, and that's what I like about him. And he acts him really well. But and that's just one of the best films of 2012, and I will be back later with 10 to 6.